Washington shores up its offensive line, gets another first rounder for the defensive line, and there's a new kicker in town. All on this news update. Let's go.
We have Commanders breaking news coming out of Ashburn, Virginia. For an update, we go to the Ref the District studios. Here's Nathan Perry.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Ref the District's news update. We got a trio of players here to talk about. Maybe not as exciting as some of the other signings that have come to town, but don't get it mixed up here. These are going to be important signings for Washington as they try to figure out how to maneuver through the rest of this free agency and set them up for a great draft. I'm Nathan Perry here, a part of the Believe Network. We are brought to you by Bet Online. You can bet on NFL action when it's in play, but don't forget, you got NBA action. You got March Madness right around the corner, and baseball's coming up. The Nationals will be playing. The Capitals are playing right now. All of that information right at your fingertips at Bet Online. Use the code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to get yourself a 50% welcome bonus, and that way you can set yourself up for a great future as well. Bet Online, where the game starts. Adam Peters has been dealing absolutely fantastic signings coming throughout this entire process. Now, that being said, these signings right here aren't lighting anything up, okay? These are solid signings, but not necessarily something to get overly excited about. We're going to get through the first one, an edge rusher, Ferrell. This is a former first rounder taken by the Las Vegas Raiders, very high up with the 4th selection overall. And he's just never once kind of lived up to that kind of draft status. And he's been, consistently lower in the sacks. He had 4.5 his first season, 2, 1.5, 2, and then 3.5 last year with San Francisco. And I think this is where that signing is kind of coming here, as Adam Peters is familiar with him as a player. And I do think with him being young enough, he's only 26 years old right now, that this is just kind of a solid signing. Don't get overly hyped. This isn't going to replace, Sweat out on the edge. Now, Washington's already made some signings to kind of help shore up that side, as more of a pass rusher. But this is going to be a quality person within the realm of the rotation, right? He's going to see probably about 45 to 65% of the snaps in a rotation. You can expect him to be solid, not necessarily fantastic. Last year, he's been, just okay on the run defense, a much better pass rusher. But he's, this isn't something I would be overly excited about. We'll see how it pans out. Now, one of the players I am kind of excited about, even though it may give some people some Andrew Wiley flashbacks, and that is that of Nick Allegretti. He's an offensive lineman coming from Kansas City. He played only 80 snaps last year. Kansas City fans seem to be kind of in love with him. I don't necessarily think this is going to be your starting left guard, because that's where he would kind of fit into. He does have some center experience. And again, he played solidly when asked to come in. The big thing for him was he played with a torn elbow ligament through the Super Bowl. So he's got some toughness to him, some moxie, if you will. But this is a guy who I think is more so just going to be kind of starting to bring in some of the newer players for the offensive line. And so he might be the left guard and might be serviceable there, or they could still draft one. And I think that's where I really like this signing, is Washington's already getting some players here that can kind of go. So they have their center in Biadasz, right? They have the right guard in Sam Cosme. Now, this player right here in Allegretti could be your left guard, or just a center backup and a left guard backup, or a right guard backup, because he's had that experience on the interior offensive line. This still means Washington needs a couple of tackles, especially with some of the moves that the Eagles and the Giants have been making. They've got some pass rushers, and I've had that argument with Stoner on this channel. QB's the number one most important position, right? But the second one's pass rushing. You've got to stop that quarterback. You've got to get to him before he can get that ball away, make him rush those decisions. The division foes right now are shoring up on that pass rusher, and Washington doesn't have an offensive line right now built to stop them, but that interior seems to be shaping up. Now, I like interior pass protectors, interior linemen early, in that second and third round, but now that they have these, maybe they do kind of push up to go get a tackle, to kind of help out with that offensive line. There's probably still some more things coming here. Allegretti signed 3 years for $16 million. I think that is also just one of those signs. Again, this is likely a backup offensive lineman, a solid one, and it could be a great one, but I wouldn't get overly pumped about the fact that this is now your starting left guard. Now, if he does get the starting left guard position, I think he will perform just fine, but I still think that there's more needs here for Washington to shore it up. Now, they might not have a need at kicker anymore, as they did sign Brandon McManus to a 1-year deal for $3.6 million. Brandon McManus is okay. I think that he's a bigger name than he is a bigger leg. A lot of his misses came from past 48 yards, but he at least hit all of his extra point attempts. So, I mean, I guess there's that. Not that I was a big Joey Sly guy, but Joey Sly had a leg, and you could trust him to always just bang that one out. And 50-plus yarders didn't seem out of the realm of possibility. Maybe the accuracy wasn't nearly as good, but when it came to the field goals for long distance, Joey Sly was decent. McManus here, he attempted just last year 10 that were 50-plus, only made 50% of those. I don't think that's good enough in the NFL right now. I think that this is not a misstep by any means. I think Adam Peters knows that we needed a kicker, and McManus is somebody who can consistently, set you up for success. And when the offense is moving, is going to get you consistent points, right? I don't think he's going to shank a lot in the 40 and under range. But then once we start to get to 45, once we start to get to 48, and especially if it's above 50, I'm a little concerned when it comes to McManus being the kicker. A lot of games, especially with the way that I think that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt are going to work this defense, is they're going to try, and the offense, I don't think it's going to be quite air raid. I don't think Washington's looking to score 45 points in 15 minutes of ball control, right? Like, I think they're looking to kind of have a consistent offense. And when you're trying to kind of keep the scoring low, you need a darn good kicker to win those games, because, one miss could be a 10-point swing, right? You lost 3 points off of the missed kick, and now you've given them a short field position, especially, like I said, these 50-plus ones, these 45-plus yard field goals. You give them good field position. If they go down and score a touchdown and an extra point, that's 7 points for them, minus 3 points for you. That's a 10-point swing. At best, right, you get the ball back and it's just a lost possession. But easily it could even just be a 6-point swing with you missing a 3 and they make a 3. And I just don't know that McManus is the greatest choice for Washington in that regard. I do think that if they're going to go for a ball control offense, look for them to kind of get some kickers, to kind of challenge McManus during the, kind of warm-up phase before we get to preseason. We'll see if that happens. Kickers, you're looking for consistency, and McManus, again, consistently from 40 and under, good to go. But when you need those points in a tight game, Is he going to be the guy? You got to let me know in the comments section. Of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a rating in review if you're listening to this on your favorite audio platform. I'm Nathan Barry from the Believe Network here on Ref the District, brought to you by Bet Online. And until next time, be a fan.